Thanks for joining me for Behind the Music. This week we continue to celebrate Christ's resurrection in a period known as Eastertide. This is a period of 50 days that begins on Easter Sunday and extends through Pentecost. Now, Jesus wasn't on earth for a full 50 days. We know from Acts 1 he was here for 40 days, and during that time he visited several different people. There's an Easter hymn in our hymnal that's called "Awake My Heart with Gladness." Let me read you part of the second verse. For Christ again is free in glorious victory. He who is strong to save has triumphed o'er the grave. I'm going to go ahead and play this tune for you. It might not be very familiar, but it's a really great Easter hymn. My favorite verse of this hymn, and I invite you to read all of them if you can, is verse 3. This is a sight that gladdens, what peace it doth impart. Now nothing ever saddens the joy within my heart. No gloom shall ever shake, no foe shall overtake the hope which God's own Son in love for me hath won. This weekend, Pastor Steve is talking about when Jesus visited two men on the road to Emmaus. They were walking, they had questions. A lot of changes had just happened in their lives. If you'd been a follower of Jesus, you'd had this triumphal entry into Jerusalem, and then all of a sudden we had Good Friday, and Jesus was crucified, and then the uncertainty of what was taking place at the tomb. They were talking about all of this as they were walking, and suddenly someone was walking with them and started discussing these things. It was a big time of change for them. They were struggling. We're also going through a time of change right now at Victory. You probably have heard that after 24 years, Pastor Larry and Judy have decided to enjoy their retirement, and it's leaving us here with a lot of questions. Who's the next pastor going to be? What's the future of Victory look like? How are things going to be in the interim? Something that we have in common with the disciples is we have hope, right? This hope that something good is going to come. We might not know what it is, but we have to have confidence in the process. The Belgian composer Flor Peeters took this hymn, Awake My Heart with Gladness, and he wrote a partita on it. Partita is just a fancy word for a set of variations. I already played the first one for you when I introduced the hymn tune, and now I'm going to play you a few parts of the 7 different variations. The second variation goes like this. It's divided. First we had a nice quarter notes, right? Bum, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. So you hear it subdivided like that. And then we move on to the third variation, and instead of it being 1 and 2, and he's made it into triplets. So it's getting gradually a little bit more exciting. Triplets. So we have 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a like this. Did you hear that triplet feel? It's more of a dance, like one da 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 da, kind of fun. And then we go to the next one. And now, if we've had it divided into 2 and then divided into 3, the next logical thing would be divided into 4, right? You hear that? Da 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 da. We have 16th notes now, so it's been divided into 2, divided into 3, divided into 4. We turn to the next variation. You would say 5, right? He hasn't done that to us. It's a possibility. But in this case, he's decided to slow it down, and we have this really beautiful slow movement here. lovely? We have a little solo on the crumb horn and a nice rocking pedal, kind of lull us. I like that movement. But then, back to, we've skipped 5, now we're dividing it into 6. Nice and loud and exciting. Here we have. Of course, each one of these variations is a little bit longer, but I'm just giving you a teaser so you tune in and listen on Sunday. Now you know what's coming because I've clued you in, but if you were just listening and there would be a change each time and you would wonder what was coming, there's a little bit of this uncertainty, right? Remember, you have to have hope. This weekend, as we continue to celebrate Easter, I hope you remember that. It's because of the sacrifice of God's own Son that we have hope here on earth. Hope during this transition time, hope as we don't know what's happening with COVID, we don't know, there's always uncertainties, right? Which is why we get to cling to that hope and celebrate the resurrection.